What's up, guys? It's Patricia back with another episode of the GN10. Just got back from the women's team final at Bercy Arena, and it's time to break it all down. So, this right now is your spoiler warning. If you haven't watched the women's team final for the Paris Olympics, it's time for you to stop listening, pause this, go watch, and then you can come back and hear all about it. So, let's jump right in. Of course, we know the podium is the US on top, winning their, I believe, fourth team gold medal in the women's gymnastics team final. And then you have Italy in second, and it is their first team medal in 96 years since the first games when women's gymnastics was in the program. And then with the bronze is Brazil with their first Olympic gymnastics team medal ever. So it was a very historic podium. The US is back on top, Italy, Brazil, and then of course there were valiant efforts from all of the teams. There was a lot of back and forth. Ultimately, Brazil finished on vault, which is of course a higher scoring event, and they really were able to bounce back after they had some early mistakes. China was kind of in it at first, but they had quite a few mistakes. Canada was looking great. Great Britain, unfortunately, it was heartbreaking. Alice Kinsella actually finished her beam set in the final rotation and was just so overjoyed, and her score came in and they were on the podium and they were super excited, but they didn't realize that the US still had a score to be put in, and so they were like celebrating and all that stuff, and then it was like radio silent. They were just devastated, and you could see them very emotional on the sideline. It was just a lot to take in for them. Brazil, to start out the night, they started on bars, and Flavia Saraiva actually had a nasty fall and like busted open her like eye, like right above her, maybe her eyebrow. I can't really tell you exactly what happened, but she's like bleeding, guys. Like, I mean, like, it is not pretty. You could look like she had just gotten into like a wrestling match, not a gymnastics meet. And I think at one point she left the floor, comes back with her eye bandaged, and she's like already developing the nastiest black eyes. I think both of them. But I mean, you'll see in the photos she's got the bandage on the podium and throughout the night. But that woman is a warrior. I cannot reiterate that enough. She went out there and crushed it for her team. I'm sure that was painful and very difficult to work through, but she delivered again and again and again. She did do all around for Brazil. So what 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 a woman. That's all I can say about her. And then of course Rebecca Andrade was amazing all night. She had a great floor set, and then she closed with a big, I think it was 15-1 for her chung. And there's actually a video of Simone watching it, and she's just like, "Oh, wow," basically. So it's her reaction is everybody's reaction to Rebecca's chung, which I think everybody can agree is the best in the world, best ever, I would say. So exceptional, bravo, viva Brazil. I was sitting with the Brazil media the other day, and they are very enthusiastic about their teams. So I was sitting there watching them take it in. I think it was qualifying, yeah, on women's qualifying night. So a lot of fun. And I was just like, "Is it Viva Brazil?" And they were like, "Yes, Viva Brazil." And I was like, "Woohoo!" So clearly I am delusional. It's late. It's midnight here, but we're getting this done. So uh, Italy rotated with the U.S. They had a exceptional night. They just did what they needed to do to make it onto this podium, and then the U.S. Uh, was awesome from start to finish. There was one mistake, that was Jordan Childs falling on her front pike mount on beam, and honestly, not to say Jordan's of course exceptional and her front pike mount is exceptional, but the way in training and then in qualifying and then even like at trials and stuff, like the way that she does it, it seemed like a matter of time before she did kind of incur a fall on that. Because usually when she does it, because it's basically a blind landing, one, it's hard to find the beam in general, and then she has a habit of like doing it and then kind of like hopping forward, and you're doing that blind, right? So there's a chance that you're gonna like just miss it completely. So Besides that, Suni came back after Jordan and hit her beam set. It was lovely. Um, Simone had like a big bobble on beam where she like bent in half, but no biggie. They ended up winning by almost 6 points, anyways. Simone only did the chung tonight on vault. Afterwards, Cecile said that that was a safety decision for the calf, really probably just to protect the calf because ultimately, in the women's all-around final in 2 nights, she's probably going to have to do the Yurchenko double pike just to stave off Rebecca, who could potentially be throwing, who knows, a triple twisting Yurchenko or obviously she scores higher on her chung than Simone does. So um, I assume that that'll probably be used then. And if nothing else, if she does use the chung in the all around final, then she will obviously have to do the Yurchenko double pike for the vault final. So, smart move because obviously they had a buffer to do the chung, not risk it, and to protect that calf. Now, as far as the calf goes, saw Simone all night. She was walking like normal. I really do think that it's, she said afterwards during the press conference that everyone's nosy, but she said that they've been doing pain management the past couple of days. And then she was like, once we get out there, adrenaline's pumping, like, I'm fine. And there was no noticeable limp today. She seemed totally fine. So I think, again, it's all about that. She said she was going to go, obviously, after seeing their family and doing all the media and everything, go do some therapy tonight and really rehab it and get it ready for all around final in 2 days time. So yeah, and then let's see what else were the big takeaways from the press conference afterwards. We talked with Chelsea Memmel. She said that it was a very hard discussion to have with Hesley Rivera about her not competing in the final, but she said that Hesley took it well, and it seemed like Hesley did her job tonight of rooting on the team. Obviously, she's 16. She's got a lot of career left in her, hopefully another game. So she, delivered in the qualifying. She did her job in the qualifying, and tonight her job was to root on her teammates. And so Hesley was very excited. You could just see that she's just like sparkles in her eyes, basically just taking in everything, just enjoying the moment. Especially during the press conference. And she actually did have a bit of a zinger during the press conference. The women were asked about the food in the Olympic Village, and Simone was immediately like, got the little like stank face, like was just like gross, basically. She didn't say gross. She actually like took kind of a little moment and then was just like, it's just not French cuisine like what you guys are probably having outside of the village. Like, it's a lot healthier. And then Hesley chimed in and was just like, no, it's terrible. Like, it's just not good. So that was quite funny. And then they were asked about what their team name is. And Simone actually originally was like she wasn't gonna like tell everyone, and I was like trying to figure out if they were just trying to keep it secret for some reason to like make an announcement like on maybe like the Today Show or something like that. But she was like, I think she was just trying to keep it PG, honestly, and she was like trying to do an acronym, but she was like FA, and then she couldn't. She was trying to figure out how to do it, and then Simone and Suni are like in both of her ears, like just like trying to tell her what it is, and she was just like, whatever, like F around and find out. And so she was just like, that's actually afterwards. She was like, that's like our inside team name. After the conference was over, she was talking to a few of the press up front. She was just like, that's our inside team name. Like, we talked about a lot of different things, like the Redeem Team plus Hesley, or Redeem Team, or Redemption Team, or she was just like, we don't like any of them. And she was just like, we couldn't come up with anything. So, like, that's what we got. So somebody else come up with something. But so I guess jury's still out for maybe a more PG team name. But I mean, F around and find out, it's pretty funny. F around and find out 5. Uh, People come up with ideas. I don't really know. So that was the women's team final. It was a lot of excitement. Oh, one more thing I will say is that apparently yesterday there were a lot of nerves like in the gym. Apparently, it was very clear that like maybe like the athletes were training, but like they weren't necessarily being honest about how they were feeling. And so at one point, basically, I think it was Jordan was just like, no, 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 we need to talk about this. And so they actually had kind of a heart to heart, and Jordan initiated, and apparently Simone chimed in a lot. But basically, they were just talking about the nerves and kind of getting it out there and being like, we're gonna lean on each other. We have to be honest with each other, and kind of nip that in the bud before coming into today. And it seems obviously like they did. As Simone said, that they had a lot of fun. They all seemed to have a great time. It's just quite the difference 3 years makes from when these athletes went through what they did in Tokyo and so many challenges. And even Simone said that after her vault, she felt relief. She was just like, basically like, a weight's lifted off my shoulders. She was just like, after that, I knew like, yeah, we're gonna do this. And apparently Jordan was just like, yo, hallelujah, like, yes, we're getting this done, like, no issues this time, basically. So a lot of relief after that first rotation, and then it was just smooth sailing really from then. So very exciting for them. And of course, with the gold medal, with any medal, but with the gold medal that they ultimately won, Simone is now the most decorated U.S. Olympic gymnast in history, surpassing Shannon Miller. And when she heard that, she was like, oh, cool. But of course, she's got a lot left to do, so we'll see where she finishes, because an interview also came out, I think it was today, but recently, where a story on Rebecca Andrade from Brazil, and Rebecca said that in a personal conversation between her and Simone did tell her, confirmed that she would be done after Paris, which is something that we've talked about, how Jocelyn Robertson and others have basically like said that she's gonna be done. She wants to move on. She wants to probably live with her husband in the same city, and she's done a lot, 3 Olympics. She could of course probably keep going on, but she enjoys her life and she wants to move on, it seems. So whether that will be announced as soon as the games are over, or her games are over, I assume not. I assume that she'll take a little time and then make the official announcement, but just another like kind of confirmation from somebody that we should be really taking in and appreciating these moments of watching Simone Biles compete, because it seems like that time is winding down quick, and soon enough this will all just be history. So fairy tale night for the US women, for Italy and Brazil as well. It was wonderful to watch it all unfold, and I can't wait to see what happens in the men's all-around final tomorrow night. So I'll be back for another recap tomorrow evening, and looking forward to it.